There are a list of 87 things we could itemize that is on a head coach's to-do list as CEO and everything else that's involved. But I'll put it in three components. I'll put it in three categories. Recruiting/player acquisition. And then I will put the next bucket that is varied, but still culture, system, processes, player development, all of that. How do you run the program day to day throughout the off season, day to day, everything that you do. And then number three, game preparation, game planning, X's and O's, and then adjusting in game X's and O's. Now we knew that Mario's strength was number one. His supposed weakness was number three, but still his results were mixed at Oregon. It wasn't like every time they played somebody good, they got trounced. Mixed results, playing like opponents. And then, but this middle category in terms of running a program day to day and developing these players, he's had one off season, he and his staff, to do that. Do you have a beat on that?
It was different before Saturday, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And I will use Cristobal's words, or the words of one of the speakers who came in to talk to the team, that everyone has been parroting recently. And this is the foundation of my discontent. But the phrase is, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if the performance we saw on Saturday is how you do anything, then by extension, using the mantra that I've heard, that's how we do everything. That gives me great pause and concern, right? Because it wasn't just one play. It wasn't just one player. It wasn't just one anything. Because, and as they proved, how they did anything was how they did everything, and everything was terrible. So, if that's emblematic of the system or the whole scale structure of the program at this point, that gives me great pause, because, that's all. And the whole year he's talking about, oh, this is going well, and everybody's bought in, and this is what we're doing, and one mind, one band, one sound, going back to drumline kind of a thing, like how we do everything, or anything's how we do everything, everybody's together, but then you do that, and that performance makes me question everything that you are doing holistically as a program. So again, if you had you asked me this last week, even coming off of the Texas A&M loss, I would have said something different. I would have had a different viewpoint. But with another data point and another legendarily horrible performance to add into that evaluation, what I thought I was going to say is different now.
And it's a data point that's telling, because Miami, had they won that game 31-14, or as a 26-point favorite, won by 26 points, 43-17, let's say, then we're probably saying, good performance. That's what they're supposed to do. We really don't know much. We got to see the Florida State game. We got to see the Clemson. We got to see these other opponents. Or if they go out there and they win that game 52-0, we're saying again, the opponent, but they do what great football teams do. They go out there and just lay waste. Look at Michigan's first three games against Connecticut, Hawaii, and Colorado. 59-0. Every game's just annihilate them.
Yeah.
But this is what the data point is. Like, this data point is a exclamation mark data point.
Yeah, circled, underlined, highlight, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, every game, really, if you go back and look, every game Miami's underperformed expectations, I would say. All 4 games so far. Now, 2 of them were wins, and, I was still looking with a critical eye. It felt good. Look, I'm not going to ever shade a win, but there were still things to work on, even against, Southern Miss. You lose a close game to a talented, even though they're not that great, Texas A&M team. But you lose it close. You lose by 1 score on the road. You can get positives from there, but no, there's not been a game where Miami has performed well this season at all. And that, so I mean, as I'm thinking about it, after that answer, like, not only should the Middle Tennessee State game give you pause, but the performance this entire season should really. I mean, you look back against Bethune, like, oh, well, they put up some points and they moved around and they did it. Well, 77-0 to, against FAMU, or, 77-7 against, Savannah State, or things like that. That was not what we saw, the kind of dominance that was seen against Bethune-Cookman at all. Southern Miss, that game was way more competitive than you would have liked. You lost a very winnable game at Texas A&M, so underperformed there, so that's 3 for 3. And, I mean, I'm sorry, breaking news, Middle Tennessee just scored again, another 85-yard touchdown. But then, hey, man, look, where's the season going to go from here? Because the performance that we're seeing from Miami is as bad or worse as what I was expecting coming into the season for Florida State. And honestly and truly, where are 4 more wins to get to bowl eligibility coming? Now, they might be on that. Well, I mean, look, Virginia's pretty bad, but they always play teams close, and they played a decent, I would say Syracuse is better than us, but they played them tight, right? Duke lost a shootout to Kansas as 2 undefeated teams. Yeah, take that in real quick. But, hey, if they're moving the ball through the air, right? North Carolina, they were throwing the ball all around the yard in 2019, and they just decided, and they looked on film and saw the same thing that Middle Tennessee State saw, except for they went the other way and said, oh, we're going to run it over and over and over. And they're still running from that game. Who knows? They got Drake May in there, and he's throwing for 8 million yards. But you can't even assume that, because when they had Sam Howell trying to get him to be a first-round draft pick, trying to get him towards the Heisman, he only threw the ball 18 times that game because they just pounded that rock. So, and they're coming in here next weekend, and that's a team that we've struggled with, home and road recently. So, Florida State, I had that as a sure win. I definitely don't right now. Clemson, that was, if not a sure win, like a coin flip. I don't see that as a coin flip game at this very moment. So it's just like, okay, well, it is what it is, but you got to win 4 more of these games to get to bowl eligibility. And with the way that we've seen Miami play, and as I noted earlier, underperforming in all 4 games, are you sure that there are 4 more wins on that schedule? Because I'm not.